I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and you take one of the most popular Android phones, and you take one of the most popular Windows phones, what do you get? A dogfight. That's what. It's the Samsung Galaxy Nexus and the HTC Titan, and the dogfight starts right now. If you're coming into this video and you're obviously trying to figure out which one's going to be the best for you, well, it depends on what's more important to you, because I'll argue that Android definitely has more going for it in terms of things that it can do. You know, greater app store, at least in terms of applications, a bigger app store. It has more functionality overall, where I think Windows Phone wins is in terms of form. So if you're somebody that's maybe coming from iOS and you're just sick and tired of the iPhone, but you're looking for a replacement that's just as fluid, I would say, take a look at something like the HTC Titan. If you're looking for something that, does more and you want to root and hack and play around with the device, I'd say consider the Galaxy Nexus. I mean, this is a far more fluid performance over here. I experience lag on every Android device, including the Galaxy Nexus. So if, lag frustrates you, if you don't like waiting for your programs hanging up or anything like that, take a look at the HTC Titan. It's kind of an overall blanket statement there. But if you want something that's a little bit more powerful in the processing department, and can do more overall in terms of hacking, rooting, modding, more applications in the market, take a look at the Galaxy Nexus. But before I get into part two, some love to Best Buy Mobile. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working with either of these devices. They'll help you set up your email, your web, your phone app, your People app over here, TweetDeck, Gmail, all that stuff at Best Buy Mobile. They'll make sure you're walking out working. But let's take a look, and speaking of phone apps, let's take a look at the differences over here, just to show you how minimalistic it is. Of course, you start into your AT&T call history over here on the Titan. Over here, it brings up the Dialpad directly, and you can see some tabs up top for recent calls, and then, of course, your contact list. Now, down here, you have voicemail, you have your Dialpad, you have your contacts, and you have search, along with the little three buttons where you can see call settings and kind of get into the internals. You have the same thing over here on Ice Cream Sandwich. Because there are no buttons on Ice Cream Sandwich, there's no capacitive or physical buttons. You'll see, like I said in part one, those buttons are on screen. Now, they don't change. It's always back home and then running applications. What you will notice is in some applications, those little three dots kind of becomes your menu button, if you will, in all of your applications. So when you jump out of phone, for example, and you go into Gmail, you'll notice that you've got that up top as well, and actually just shifted down to the bottom. So it's nice your menu application, or your menu button rather, is over there instead of being down here or being a physical button or a capacitive button. It varies depending on the application that you're running. Hopefully that'll be standardized as Ice Cream Sandwich takes off. Back to the phone application, you can see here Dialpad, and we can dial 611 on both of these devices just to show you what the screen looks like, and you just really see a minimalistic approach over here as opposed to this. You'll notice that the buttons go away and are replaced by dots, which I easily can still access, and then come back down to the current call. Over here you have all your shortcuts and of course your dial pad, and just to give you an idea, that's what they both look like. Now into contacts, and I like the way they've organized contacts in Windows Phone, and then you can see over here, we'll go into People, we'll jump over, and you can see some changes, particularly if you're coming from an older version of Android. You're coming from 2.2 or 2.3 and you're migrating up. Some big changes here, and you see your favorite contacts, you can see as well your Google contacts in the way that they're organized by coworkers, family, friends, any other groups like that. But over here you can see recent tweets, you can see what's new, and then you can see all of the people in here. So let's go to Rick James, for example, and you can see Windows Live and Google, and you can see it over here as well. You can see the phone number I have, which I don't know why they're different there. That's interesting. Oh, mobile versus home, I see. And then you can see if I had a picture, it would show up right there, just like I do for Phone Dog Aaron. You can see it shows up right there, and I can favorite that contact, I can access some additional settings, and I have the mobile number, and I can either call or text message. Then over here I have a work address for him, a website, a company, a job title, and then the notes. He is the man, apparently. So history as well. I can bring up, any recent emails or recent phone calls or recent text messages that I've sent to Rick James, whereas over here I don't get that, at least on the main screen. I can set ringtones, send calls to voicemail, and do some other goodies over here. But when I go to edit it, you'll see the options that I have, and much like typical Google, I can add another field and add addresses and more into Gmail. Now down here you do get capacitive buttons. You get three. You get back, home, which is the Windows flag, and then of course search as well. Now when you go to search, you're going to see some different appearances here. Here's Google, here's Bing, and of course that picture is going to change. It's going to show where I'm at in the city, and then I have these nice little things. I kind of like this touch where I can learn a little bit more, then I can come down here and see what the actual image is referring to. So I can come over here and do some searches. So I can say hot dog. Well, we can do hit dog. How about that? Hot dog. And then I can go over there and see that. And then I can come over here and do hot dog as well. in Bing, just to give you an idea as to the way the search works. Now, of course, it brings up local over here. I can switch over to images. I can switch to web, just like you can over here, images, places, and news. But I do like the fact that it brings up local out of the gate because it shows me if I really want a hot dog, I can go to any of these different hot dog places in various parts of the cities around Charlotte or the city limits, and get my hot dog if I were so inclined. So to show you mail as well, one thing I like about Mango that's changed, you can unify the inbox. So if you have 2 or 3 inboxes, you know, you have your business, your personal, and something else, and you want to integrate those all together, well, you can do it in one easy mail application over here on the Titan. So when I click plus, it's going to show me all the accounts I have. I can click one to start a new message. But I like how, you know, again, how fluid it is, how quickly it performs, and just how minimalistic it is in terms of look and feel. I can scroll over and see the text at the top, all on red, flagged, urgent, and more. And then down here I've got some options. I can sync, I can search, I can select, I can do a new one. Then over here, Gmail's been changed as well on Android 4.0. You can see a lot of changes here. You've got some buttons down here where I can sync up, I can tag, I can search, and I can do a new message. And then if I had more than one inbox configured, it would show right there, and I could easily switch back and forth between the two. So that's a nice touch, it's a nice benefit as well. So some changes there. Let's take a look at camera on both of these devices and see which one comes out the best. And you've got a 5 megapixel camera over on the Galaxy Nexus, an 8 megapixel camera over on the Titan, but this one has 720p HD video recording, whereas this has 1080p HD video recording on the Galaxy Nexus. Let's take a look at this. 5 megapixel camera over here, and one thing I'll give the Galaxy Nexus credit for is the shutter speed is very fast. Now that said, if you're not in perfect light, you will experience some challenges in terms of trying to get it to take a decent picture. Now we'll bring over, let's see, maybe the OtterBox case here. That's just no, that'll work. It's really not the best, but we'll see. We'll get to focus in on the text here, and then we'll take a picture. You can see how quickly the shutter speed works. Very fast there, little to no lag, and I can easily transition over. Now obviously there's a lot of light going on right now because I have light shining down on this for the video, and you can see pretty quick and easy to see, and you can see the specs in the case. So it's a decent image provided the light is good. Now when you get in a low lit area, the camera is not the best in the world. I am impressed with the 8 megapixel camera over here, but if you're a video buff, it only shoots in 720p instead of 1080p, so that might be a small problem. Now this is a Windows phone, so there's a physical camera button, which I like as well over here on the side, and then you got easy access between your gallery and then between your picture itself. So we'll come over here, take a picture, get it focusing on the OtterBox, and we'll take a couple like we did with the, try to get my hands out of the way here. That was a terrible picture because that was me out of focus, but you can see here, again, nice clean picture over on the Titan as well, and overall impressed with the camera. But 720p here, 1080p on the Galaxy Nexus. So if video is your thing, be sure to check out the Galaxy Nexus. Whereas if pictures are your thing and you want overall better image quality, I'd give it to the HTC Titan. Let's do a quick speed test on both of these using bandwidth over on Windows Phone, and then of course speed test over on the Android side. And we'll take a look. HSPA Plus over here, Verizon's 4G LTE on the Galaxy Nexus, and there is a little bit of a signal strength issue, if you will, on the Galaxy Nexus. Right now it's showing, obviously there's a cell site right across from my office building, but it's showing 4G and full bars of service. Now, when you get in an area, it actually shows based on the LTE network and not on the CDMA network, which is what you use for voice calls. So right now, it's showing a signal strength indication based on data, if you will, and not on voice. So that's fine right now because I'm in a perfect area or near perfect area for Verizon service. When you're in an area where it's not so great, you may see 2 or 3 bars on your HTC Resound or your Motorola Droid Razr, whereas you see 0 bars or an incorrect signal strength showing on the Galaxy Nexus. Now that doesn't mean that it won't make calls. What it's showing is the actual LTE connectivity and not the CDMA connectivity, so that's something to keep in mind. But to show you the speed test here, download speed's about 15 megabits per second, upload speeds are about 7 megabits per second, so pretty decent on the Verizon side. And then you can see over here, download speed on HSPA Plus, 3 megabits per second, or about 3.2 megabits per second, upload speed 0.5 megabits per second. So a little bit rough on the upload, but download for HSPA Plus, certainly respectable. So decent on both ends there. Now one thing I want to show you before I leave you, the marketplace on both of these devices. Android market on the Android side obviously, and then Windows marketplace over on the Windows Phone side. So of course you can see here's the home screen, and you can see the minimalistic approach that Windows Phone takes as opposed to the kind of cluttered almost appearance that the Android market takes. Now one benefit here is you do get apps, music, books, and movies on the market side, on the Android market side. They're kind of creating a one-stop shop here where you can download music, books, movies, and more. And, you know, with Google Music, with Google Books, you can easily access those on your device. Now over here on the marketplace side, you can see some useful apps. We'll bring up Flickster, for example, and then we'll come in here and scroll over to top free over here and just do Angry Birds just to show you what they look like. Now, again, very minimalistic on the Windows Phone side. You can easily scroll over and see reviews, screenshots, and more, and then you can read over on the details and see the star rating. You can install or share. Same thing over here. You can share, search for something else, install, but you've got your screenshots over on the description side, and then, of course, what's new, your reviews, and then more by that application developer. So both of these are good devices, and really when it boils down to it, it's going to depend on what you use your device for. If you want something, again, to hack, to root, to mod, the Android device is obviously going to be your one, particularly given the fact that this is a stock Android device, much easier to root, and then you have the Titan over here, minimalistic in terms of approach, great for somebody that's coming from iOS, or wants an easy-to-use performance, and wants something that's very fluid. Now, the winner of the dogfight is the Galaxy Nexus just because of specs. It has a dual-core 1.2 gigahertz processor. It has 1080p HD video recording, and of course it has 4G LTE connectivity, but really it's going to boil down to which one matters, or which one you prefer in terms of usability and more. Much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com with both of these devices. Keep it locked on the site for the Galaxy Nexus and the HTC Titan, and in the meantime, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/PhoneDog. We're always doing cool giveaways, cool contests, and more. So give us a shout, Facebook.com/PhoneDog. Follow me on Twitter as well, PhoneDog_Aaron, and on Facebook at Facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Let me know what you think of both of these devices, and hit me up. I always enjoy talking to you. Thanks so much for watching. Happy New Year, and as always, we'll see you next time.